Welcome to Still Talking Uncut. I'm your host, Big Easy. I'm cold as shit and buried in snow like the 75% of the United States. So if you're tuning along, man, I hope you're warm. If you ain't warm, man, grab you a drink, warm yourself up. Man, Uncle Joey pouring it deep over there. He locked in the basement where it's cold, so he got to keep warm.
I got a deep one tonight.
I'm always cold because I ain't got no hair. Joined by Matt Lemasters. What's that shirt say? 3 inches, take it or leave it. You measured in dude inches, right? So it's really just it's a light switch.
You damn right.
My man. All right. Joined by my lady came in and hit it. She knows what's up. She knows that's experience talking right there. You can't teach that. So, anyways, we joined by special guest man, my man Ryan Ezra. We really appreciate you joining us. Like I said, anytime we can get somebody, who's not like the last person, big change. Really enjoy that. He said, I enjoyed old Jeffrey Anderson. He just, I want to talk liquor. So every now and then we let Uncle Joey choose a random guest that he wants, kind of a stick in it to some other fellers. So it was a good time. Old Jeffrey and his wife was a good show. But tonight we're going to talk liquor. Welcome to the show, Ryan. We appreciate you joining us.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, absolutely.
We usually start with what you're drinking on, but I think Uncle Joey's the only one drinking tonight. Unless you sipping on something special up there, Ryan?
I got some 100% of just malted barley, Carolina Malt House, the Golden Malt. It's real good.
Nice.
I hear people doing 100% barley. Barley's got such a good flavor. That smell you see. It reminds you so much like cereal.
Yeah, well, with the new American single malt rules, it actually has to be 100% malted barley, and so it really kind of narrows you in instead of doing like a Scottish or an Irish where it's half malted, half unmalted, maybe some oats, maybe some it's really good. It's really complex.
So back up a little bit. Did they loosen up some regulations on what they explain a little bit more of that?
So forgive me, I may be wrong on this, but my understanding, American single malt finally became its own category, just like bourbon, so it has to be 100% malted rye. What it has to go into it's all one distillery, 100% malted barley. Has to be taken off the still at less than 160 proof. It can't go in there's a cask size, I forget what it's, one of like the big punch-in size casks. It can't go in anything larger than that. I don't remember exactly what cask size it is. But it can go into new or used oak, which is really cool because it allows those distilleries to use their old malt or old bourbon or rye barrels for an American single malt. So I'm kind of playing around with recipes along those lines.
Well, that's cool as shit.
Yeah. Are you using a distiller's malt or a brewer's malt with that?
It's a brewer's malt. It's a brewer's malt.
Brewer's malt.
Yeah. Carolina Malt House.
What we're talking about is distiller's malt and brewer's malt. Distillers usually 6-row. You hear us talk about 6-row and 2-row. Distillers want that 6-row. It's got more diastatic power, more converting power than a 2-row. But you're just using it. All the flavor and all that. 2-row is going to have a lot more. That's why they use it for brewing. So if you're just wondering what we're talking about,
and a little easier to get.
Malt and dude. Distiller's malt can be hard to get, man. Whereas 6-row is hard to get, unless you get with LD Carlson. I believe they're up out of Cleveland, Ohio, is where they're big out of. You can get with them. You can get your 6-row around here. Other than that, there's no farmers that grow it. The only farmer I know that grows it's old McDonald.
I heard that even Breeze switched from 6-row to 2-row on their distiller's malt. I'm not quite sure how they're classifying that because you're supposed to get like the 160 DP of the 6-row and like 140 with the 2-row.
Yeah, I wonder if it's dude, they got so much modification of this stuff nowadays. Maybe they dipped in, or maybe there's a loophole to where they're using the liquid enzymes to make up for it. I mean,
They may just use their magic.
I want to know. Like, get a hold of us. We want to know. Uncle Joey, get them on. We got questions.
That's definitely a whole nother rabbit hole for sure.
Oh yeah, it is. So Billy Reed asked, was the original Scotch all barley?
Original Scotch all barley. I mean, original. I'm sure at some point it was. My understanding is that it wasn't. Like it was originally all barley, and then they put a tax on it on the amount of malted grain. I could be wrong here. I've been drinking. I could be wrong. And that's when they started using unmalted barley and barley in combination. And that's kind of where things eventually started to kind of get more into more modern times.
Yeah. Oats, barley and oats.
Barley and oats, yeah.
About old Irish whiskey, just because, the diastatic power in the barley. And
the Irish is what I'm talking about, yeah.
And then they're talking the grain revolution. When grains became available, they're able to malt different grains and change everything. And I don't like the smokiness of Scotch. It ain't my dig. My buddy old Joe Jackson, man, he does just a moonshine, but he smokes his grains, and dude, it's so smoky. It's like licking an old leather boot, man. Like, and I'm just like, bro, JJ, this ain't for me, buddy. I'm like,
but it's good.
It's good. I respect it, but oh man, that ain't for me. It's just not my day.
I think I tasted that at Farm to Bottle the one year, and it wasn't for me either.
But if you like that smokiness, man, and you love Scotch, and it's just some people love it, and to each their own.
Yeah, it's like Lefroy is like that. It's like sticking your head in a campfire. It's crazy.
Scotch is an acquired for sure. A lot of people say you'll get there eventually if you're bourbon drinkers. Nah, I just don't know if I'll get there, man. That Scotch is a different taste, that's for sure.
I would imagine. Go ahead.
I would say not all Scotch is the smoky. They got the Highlands and stuff like that, and that's like fruity and floral. And I don't remember which region the smoky comes from, but Macallan is a good one. It's not all smoky and shit. Yeah.
Oh shit. So what got you started in just the world of distillation, Ryan?
So I'd been interested in it for a really long time. And then, fast forward, it was illegal, so I was a chicken shit and I didn't do it. It wasn't until a buddy of mine who had like one of those little Beaver pot stills kind of came over to my house with a Sugar Shine Turbo, wash, and we ran it off in my kitchen, and it's like, this is stupid easy. And easy to hide. It's not like, you're selling or anything like that. So it's, you're not going to draw the attention of the cops or anything like that. So
it's a little hobby, it's a little hobby.
Yeah. You're making a gallon at a time. It's not, it's not anything to go nuts about. And I just went immediately overboard with it, like head first. As one does. And I turned around, and my brother's my fabricator. So he cranked out a keg still for me, bought all the ferrules for him, told him where to weld it all up. And I've been going nuts ever since.
So, did you always is Sugar Shine kind of mainly what you stuck? Well, I don't want to say stuck with. Is that what you cut your teeth with? Is that kind of where you learned to make your mistakes, as we all do?
No. I did about 3 Sugar Shines, and I was like, this is bullshit. This is too easy. And then I went headfirst into rum, just because I wasn't in a position to really mash properly. And so deep down the rabbit hole of Jamaican rum and high esters, double retort, you find yourself studying organic chemistry for fun to try to get to actually understand what esters are and all that. I spent a couple of years doing pretty much nothing but perfecting the same batch of rum, the same wash or mash bill, basically. Kind of started.
That by the time you were done, ended up pretty damn good. Let's be honest. You work on something that long, it's going to get good.
It was, I started, I learned that Hampden. I saw in an interview that Vivian Wisdom he mentioned something about using like these proportions. It was 40% dunder, which is a huge no-no on home distillers forum. They throw you under the bus if you do try to do anything more than 15% backset or dunder. And so I started playing around. I got up to 40%, and this is the game changes when you have a really, really high gravity ferment with a low sugar value. You're running like a starting gravity of like 1.1, but you only have a ABV potential of like a 6% beer. So, something about that changes, and I'm not super into the chemistry, but you're reusing dunder over and over again builds a lot of organic acids. You build a lot of depth into the spirit that way.
So like with rum, is that kind of like you would sour mash a grain, kind of in a sense?
Yeah, so you're taking your stillage, your backset, and you're using it in place of water in the next fermentation, and then again over and over again, just like with Uncle Jesse's simple sour mash. After about the 5th generation, things that spirit changes somehow.
It starts changing.
Yeah, after UJSSM, after about 5 generations, you start picking up that weird butterscotch flavor that's hard to kind of nail down, and you get a similar change when you start using high amounts of dunder for long enough, because like the molasses has got the unfermentables, they don't wash out of it, so every time you kind of you reuse it, you're keeping all of that crap in there, and it continues thermolysis, what is it, thermal breakdown. Some of that shit breaks down, but some of it doesn't, and you're unlocking these cool new interesting aromas that you didn't get before.
So you say you used a lot of, you made a lot of rum. Any kind of particular molasses did you find you were using that was better than others, or you sticking with one kind, or?
I was mostly just the Golden Barrel, blackstrap molasses, buying it from Webstaurant store, because you can buy 5 gallons of it, and it's relatively inexpensive. I was using vanilla sugar because the Hampden recipe that Vivian Wisdom said is they use 10% molasses, and I believe it's 30% skimmings. Which skimmings is the crap that floats to the top when they are making the molasses before it's actually molasses. I don't have access to cane, so the closest I could kind of come was panela or piloncillo, or one of the cool Mexican sugars that you can get at the carniceria or the mercado, and started using that as well. It makes for, I know it's different. A lot of guys are using it on HD. I haven't tried anybody else's rum that's made with it, but something about the dunder is different too. The stillage, it's almost has a spiced kind of, I don't even know how to describe it, like almost a nutmeggy kind of aroma to it, which doesn't make sense because there's no nutmeg in panela, but
right. Just the what it does over and over, the heat, the different flavors that it brings.
Mm-hmm. I did rum for a couple of years, and I was just giving it away to people. A lot of people started, requesting. It's like, hey, can you make me a gallon for my birthday? Can you do this? And so it's like, hey, buy me molasses, and I'll crank you out as much rum as I want, because I just wanted to make it.
At that point, it becomes a hobby. It's fun. Yeah, you just want to have a reason to make some liquor. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, it's like, buy me bottles, buy me some molasses. I will totally just crank you out some booze. Like, I don't even care. Just let me experiment with cool stuff.
Well, especially like you said, you had it pegged out to where you were running a good you had a good batch and you were running a good recipe. So at that point, let's share it with whoever who wants to drink it. You know what I mean? Let's drink some good rum.
Yeah, and I found this really, really cool old thread on Home Distillers Forum. It was called the Pure Acids thread. And it was for people who, because the whole point of a dunder pit and a muck pit is to infect it and to get butyric acid and lactic acid and all that. I had a small child, so I'm not going to set up a stinking muck pit in my house. So I went out and I bought, food grade, chemical grade, butyric acid, lactic acid, acetic acid, all of the cool propionic and cyprionic acids, and I started doing like a synthetic dunder pit. And learning about the H Cousins, high ester process. You start playing around with that stuff. I was able to make a really nice, very it was like Hebden rum fire. So about 500 count ester rum. It was pretty spectacular.
So were you somebody who enjoyed chemistry class when you were in high school?
No, I was a stoner. Like, I didn't pay attention to anything like that. Which is funny because I could find myself like enjoying reading about chemistry now.
Well, it sounds to me, yeah. Well, just listening to you talk, you sound like you're very interested. You know what I mean? Like what you learned through this was something that it's a very good thing to know, and you're very passionate about the knowledge that you did learn.
Yeah. There's you guys know Boston Apothecary? Steven Schellenberger. So Boston Apothecary. So Steven Schellenberger. He got a hold of Raphael Arroyo's old transcripts from like the 50s and 60s. I don't know if you guys know, Raphael Arroyo is basically the godfather of rum in the modern age. And he wrote down all of his processes, but they were all in Spanish. I don't speak Spanish. So Stephen transcribed all this stuff and made it available to everybody. And it's once this stuff becomes available and unlocked, like you can really start diving into these processes. Just super cool stuff.
So you take something that you normally would make and then add all these processes to it, how they did it and used to do it. So now you're adding history to what you're doing.
Right. So like we a lot of us are familiar pot and thumper, but you're going to take your thumper. A thumper is a perfect esterification chamber. When you talk about esters, it's alcohol plus acid equals water plus ester. So, and that equation moves both ways. So if you mix an acid and an alcohol, or not carboxylic acid and an alcohol, you're going to get an ester and a water. But if you can do it in a low water environment like a thumper, because it's leaving all your stillage back in the boiler, you're going to create esters like crazy. And then you add just a little bit of sulfuric acid as a catalyst, and boom, your ester load just goes through the roof. It's crazy.
Thumper's a magical vessel.
Right.
Magical vessel.
It is such an underutilized tool.
More distilleries should utilize them. Their liquor would be less over distilled. Too many distilleries are running their liquor through too many plates. There's over distilled. Man, I don't want a corn liquor that ain't got no flavor. Right. I don't want a rum that ain't got no flavor. Which I understand you gotta run that rum a little harder, because it's rum usually.
You gotta clean it up.
But so Billy Reed was asking, is it normal for your rum, your molasses not to ferment all the way out?
Oh, totally. Yeah, it's if you're using a blackstrap molasses at let's say a gallon, like 1 gallon of molasses to about 4 gallons of water, you're guaranteed you're going to have a final gravity of around 0.04. Like that's just what it is. Like there's so much crap in there that won't ferment.
The only molasses I've had luck with fermenting down is the food grade, the Caribbean Black Pearl. Man, that stuff will ferment all the way down with bread yeast.
Yeah,
it's just a different, like you said, you blackstrap. They're using that mainly for feed, right, for your animals. So it's going to have a little bit of extra in it. I mean, it don't mean it's going to change. It's going to make some good liquor. But if you're wanting to ferment all the way out, Billy, then and if you're using the food grade and it's not fermenting all the way out because your gravity's starting high, you might try a different yeast that can tolerate that higher starting. So play around with everything. Play around with everything.
You have to kind of do the math on molasses in order to figure out if it's truly done or if it's stalled. Blackstrap molasses is 50% sugar. A pound of molasses weighs about 12 pounds, so that's 6 pounds of sugar. 6 pounds of sugar in a gallon of water, that's going to give you a starting gravity of about 8. And so now it's going to give you an 8% beer. So now you can work yourself backwards. I started out at 1.090 and I finished out at 1.030. That's an 8% beer. I know I'm done.
You're done.
Do the math, Billy.
Yeah. Hit me up. I'll help you do the math.
Hit up Ryan. He'll walk you through it. He'll give you the formula. And then after that, man, it's between you and ChatGPT. He'll help you out.
Let's see. So went crazy with rum. Felt like, I don't want to say anybody truly masters rum because that's kind of that's a whole rabbit hole. But I felt like I was satisfied in my understanding of rum. And then I moved on to, if I was going to do whiskey, I was going to do it right. And that was mashing on grain, fermenting, distilling on grain. So I built this tri-clamp, basically a tri-clamp live steam injection thing. And it's all in HD. And I kind of prototyped that for everybody. And I've had a dozen people who copied it, and good for them. Like, the more people that copy that and get on Steam, the better.
Everything gets copied. If you make something, it's getting copied.
I put it on HD for people to copy. Like, that is
right. Like, hey man, I did this. You do it however you want. But we all know it's. We all know.
Well, I'm Bulwark on HD. Look me up and look at all my threads. Like, I've got all of my Steam generator threads are on there. And like, look at them, copy them. They work great. Mine's in my fourth year now. Mine's in my fourth year now. It's doing freaking great. Like, I even put a 6 kilowatt element in it now, and it's able to just burn. It's great.
So you've got a YouTube channel, right?
Yeah, I think I've got all of like 20 or 30 followers. I think they're all from HD.
It don't matter. I mean, you got a chat. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I love it.
You create content. Uncle Joey shared a video that Matt apparently didn't feel the need to have to watch because he's taking up for Sean. When it first pops up, you're like, man, is this a distillery? Because just at first glance, you're like, man, this looks like something you would see in a distillery. So if you could please explain what is going on in that video, and maybe Matt can picture it because he didn't watch.
Right.
He'll go back and watch now.
Damn. Do I need to disappear like Sean does?
Well, you already showed up. You already beat him. So
somewhere in my rum trials, I decided I wanted to start my own distillery. And I don't know if you guys have ever priced a 250-gallon pot still. They're fucking expensive. You're looking at like $30,000 for a good pot still. You're looking at $50,000 if you want to do a good double retort, double thumper setup. So that didn't work for me because I'm broke. So I decided to kind of start exploring continuous columns. If you're looking at trying to start a distillery, at least for me, I found that I need to be able to process about 250 gallons of booze or of beer in an 8-hour period in order to make my nut, in order to have enough money to keep the lights on and to make more booze and to keep doing the things. And so the most effective way to do that is a continuous column. So I started down the rabbit hole of doing a continuous column. And, the first start of that is doing a stripper, which, the concept is you inject live steam in the bottom. So you've got the steam rising up. Your beer goes through a series of preheaters and it falls in the top, and the beer and the steam meet, and effectively they strip out the alcohol and all your stillage runs out as effluent at the bottom. This is how all the Kentucky beer stills work. All the Vendômes, Still Dragons work the same way. Forsyths, it's all the same concept. And it allows you to process a tremendous amount of beer because you're using your waste stream, your effluent, your stillage as a heat source. This one that I have here is got a 6 kilowatt element in it, and it's able to run about 12 gallons an hour. So imagine a full keg load, basically an hour. And that's just at the hobby level. I mean, I don't ferment that much. I don't run it continuously. It's only continuous in that it can run continuous. And so, got the stripper developed, and I was really happy with it. And then I decided to add the rectification side onto it. So that way I wasn't just creating, because I didn't want any process gaps. You're stripping out your beer and turning it all into low lines. Okay, cool. Now there's another big bottleneck where you have to spend 8 hours doing a spirit run.
Right.
So continuous rectifier. So you have a deflag at the top or condenser at the top, and you work, just like with a cooling management style plated still, you can, because it's all coming over at a fixed ABV, you can use the deflag as kind of a filter, like a head. It's a vapor gate is what it is. Everything that's above 173 continues to flow through it, and everything that's not hits that like a wall and drops down. And then you take it off the side as liquid, like a liquid management style still, like a Boca. And you can just continuously feed it. It's so, kind of a, go ahead.
When I was watching your one video, you had like a side that was coming up. You said that's where the heads go off at. Is that because they're at a different temperature and your heads, they escape up there and everything? As you're saying, everything else falls back down.
Right. So that deflag acts as a vapor gate. It works on the principle of condensation point versus boiling point, because your condensation point for your your lower boiling alcohols is lower. You'd think that it works the other way around, but your heads come off first, but they also condense last. So they're able to continue to pass through that deflag over to another condenser, and you can catch those separately, but everything else refluxes down onto a liquid management tray and then just drawn off the side.
So in that setup, essentially you don't have to make heads cut. Your heads are already steam out, or you still have a little left behind?
So you can leave a little bit in there for flavor, because we know that just a straight hearts cut is kind of boring. Like that would make for a boring spirit. So you can tune it just, to leave a little bit of heads in it. If you think about it, your heads are about 3% of your beer volume. So if you got a 100-gallon ferment, you're looking at about 3 gallons of heads. But you can kind of tweak that a little bit per flavor. But yeah, your heads and hearts cut are literally made on the fly, and all happens at the same time. Because as that low line vapor comes over from your stripping column and it goes over into your rectifier column, it's basically your tails get stripped out in the stripper. So basically everything that moves over to the rectifier is just heads and hearts. Little bit of tails, but not much. And then, as it rises up through there, your heads go out the vapor, the deflag at the top, hearts come out the side.
That video was wild to watch with all the, I was just sitting there going, what the most wild looking setup I've ever seen.
After he explains it, it makes more sense, because when you're watching on the second one, it's got the 3 pipes coming out of the side that go to the parrot. And so what you're saying is, with the deflag on top of that, your heads and everything you don't want are passing through, but your hearts are falling back down and going through those side pipes and being, condensed, and coming out in a parrot. And
yeah, exactly. They come off as a hot liquid, about 150 degrees. But yeah, they come out the parrot.
And okay, so when it's coming out, it's just turning right to liquid right there. There's no cooling of that. It's just
Correct.
it's just coming out at 150 degrees.
Right. I do need to put a cooler on there just so that way my hygrometer reads a little bit better. But yeah, it comes off as a really hot liquid. I mean, you've seen bubble cap plates, basically. Same thing. You're just drawing right off the side of the bubble cap.
Mhm.
So anything that gets pushed back down gets pushed through because it's obviously going to go the least of resistance, and so you're anything volatile is going to pass through. Uncle Joe, you hear a lot of people talk about running the D flag on bubble plates, and they run the D flag heavy early, and then once the heads are gone, they kick it off. You know, so you see a lot of cake stills like that. So it's kind of the same concept, but you're keeping that deflator running the whole time, so that you can continuously knock the vapors down and make them, condense. I'm going to say naturally, because you're not using any water or anything like that.
Right.
So that's the best way I can describe it. So
go
watch the video. Uncle Joey, just go watch the video, and it's going to make a lot more sense now, because like when you watch it, you're just like, you're
we didn't know what it was,
going
right?
on.
Yeah.
And so it's really cool to see it in action after hearing you speak about it. So yeah, Uncle Joey, find the video since you're sharing it and put it in the comment section and let everybody go watch it, man. And hell, y'all go follow Ryan. He's some followers, like
absolutely.
double him up. But yeah, go watch that video. You and to think that you said that you could continuously feed that, like that type of setup, you could hook that up to, say, a 50-gallon drum, and you could just continuously feed. What do you just feed the pot as it runs? Is that what you would do?
You feed the beer, because there's really no pot. There's no boiler to it. Because again, it's all done in a column. So steam enters in the bottom and beer just drops in the top. And, at about, depending on your setup, let's say 500 mils, a minute. I mean, that adds up. I mean,
again, so your liquid, say, that normally people would come from in the pot, you have in a vessel, and it's, as it runs, it's slowly feeding the still, and because everything is so hot, it's vaporizing almost instantly.
Pretty much, yeah. Okay. So like I've got old peppercini barrels. They're like the 63-gallon barrels. I make like a 50-gallon batch, and I'll pump that. I'll use a peristaltic pump, which is a positive displacement. You guys have seen them, where it's got the 3 wheels that kind of rotate, and that pumps it through a 3-inch shotgun condenser that doubles as it's a heat exchanger. So my effluent runs through the tubes, and the new beer runs through the shell, and they're cross flowing. So that way my 70-degree room temperature distiller's beer gets up to about 185 degrees by the time it works its way through that 20-inch long condenser.
It's being preheated with what's coming out.
Absolutely.
To feed off that, in the pot still world, they make a heater box, and if you guys have been to Indian Creek Distillery in Tip City, that big box he's got on front of his stripping still, that's what he does. He fills it with mash, and as his vapor pumps up through that box, it preheats his mash. So when he's done running, he dumps 100-degree mash in there, ready to roll, and he gets it heated real quick. So it's same concept. Like, these guys have seen it, they just didn't realize, like, hey, I've seen that concept just on a big giant pot still. He's got 2 of the oldest working pot stills in America, and they're beautiful.
Just said he feeds that in there,
yeah. So the fact it's pumping through that shotgun and it's preheating it, it's the same concept as a heater box on a pot still.
Right. So like the heater box is a copy of the Charente style still. That's like the French brandy, where they have the pot right here, and then they've got a big vessel right here, and the line arm runs through it, and it heats that next charge. So as soon as this one is done, they dump this one over, refill this one. And so you've taken all of the warm-up process, that lag to an hour to get up to temperature, you've taken all of that out of it. So once you're done, you drop it, push the new one in, refill, and boom, you can semi-continuously run a pot still that way.
Let's be for real. We've all heated something up too much and puked it, we learned that it takes very little heat to bring something back up to temperature than it does to bring it up to temperature. So you said it's so much more efficient, saves you so much more in electric, propane, however much you're heating and heat up time, so you're able to double up your runs.
And cooling water, because that heater box, that Charentes pre-charge, is absorbing a lot of your initial heat load, so your actual your coil needs less water too.
And I'm sure it's providing reflux in your vapor path because the liquid's cool. Like cool liquid on the outside of the copper pipe in the beginning until it got hot, could act as, just a little kind of.
Well, it's on the downslope. It's a sloping line arm, so your pot still comes up and it slopes down. So it's just cooling. It's just helping cool in, like a pre-stage cooling before your actual your coil.
Hell yeah!
Shit,
it's cool
I forgot my notepad.
You can go back and watch it. You can listen to this anytime you want on Spotify, Apple Music, Samsung Podcasts. There's all kinds. We're all kinds. It's put us into Google. You can listen to us. You can go back and listen if you want.
I listen on Spotify.
So you talked about we're going to try to open up a distillery and then you move. Talk a little bit about that, or you were in the works from opening up a distillery, or what were you going with there?
So I'm originally from Arizona, and I was like this close to having a distillery. I had an investor, I had a spot, I had everything picked out. I knew exactly what I was going to do. And then my job changed and I had to relocate. I had to be within driving distance of Atlanta. So I settled on North Carolina, and kind of having to restart everything here. The rules here are totally different. There's in Arizona is arguably probably one of the easiest states to start a distillery in. They have one craft distillery license. It includes everything you could possibly want or need. It's got your bar license. It's got your distribution, everything in one license. That's like $250. North Carolina, you've got, if you want to serve drinks, you got to get a mixed drink license. You have to deal with the ABC stores. The excise tax here is considerably more. And I don't know anybody, so like getting an investor is pretty much not going to happen. So I'm going to have to fund the whole thing myself. It's the good thing is everything fucking grows here. Like, I buy my corn and my wheat from a dude who's like 8 miles away from my house. Like everything fucking grows here. Muscadine grapes. Like I've got Childress vineyards that's 15 minutes away. Like persimmons, apples, pears, peaches. Like it's fucking amazing,
right? Like you're so blessed in this area. Like over here in the Midwest area, Appalachia area, you are blessed in this region with just plentifulness. No matter what you want to do, you could do it. Like you could find it and you could do it, and you can find a lot of it. On whatever scale. I've heard some people say like, no, you just can't get the fruit. You can't get the fruit. It's not worth it. It's like, bro, what are you talking about? Like, dude, you can get it,
but it's here.
You can go find it fairly cheap. You just got to go get it. And I understand, if you're trying to make a jar of brandy and you want to keep it on your shelf, sometimes you can't always get certain types of fruits, but you just get you get a whole lot when it's in season, man. Yeah. And it's plentiful. Like I don't understand. Like if you want to make something, you can make it and you'll figure it out.
Distilling is inherently agricultural. You have to go with the seasons. Like you don't make apple brandy in the middle of summer. You make apple brandy in the fall and winter because that's when the harvest is.
Nobody asks for jars of apple pie in the middle of the summer. They all want something lemonade or something refreshing. Like it's definitely seasons. But like if I had something on the shelf that sold a lot of, and I didn't have it in the off season, well, I would probably just make more of it when it was in season, and just know what sells and plan ahead, especially with all the fruit purees and just like you can find stuff somewhere. People call me all the time like, hey man, I know where to go get this. Let's go. And I'm like, oh, I ain't gonna know where to put it. I don't do that no more. I'm retired.
You got to
Sean
follow.
Walker
You
was
got to
best.
follow the seasons, man.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Hey, what's always in season is corn liquor.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like, so the only thing Arizona is known for is sweet corn, which makes it okay whiskey. Like, I'm not gonna lie, but like, it's harder to work with than like a dried dent corn or something like that. And cactus, like that's all Arizona was known for. I was talking to Rob McDonald about importing, Pennsylvania, but if you're trying to start a distillery, people want to drink of the place that you are. They want that terroir.
Yeah.
And you can only make so much corn whiskey. Like,
that it don't sell. Like it's so hard to sell a clear jar of liquor in a distillery when there's apple pie sitting over there. Like the old lady don't want that.
No.
The old lady don't want that, and that's what's not going to sell. And
I visited this distillery in Chicago, and this freaking like blew my mind. There's these upper crust white women who were in this distillery, and they were waspy, very, very affluent women. And we're in this distillery, and I'm taking a tour, and they've got they're sourcing whiskey, and no hate for a distillery sourcing whiskey. Like, you got to do what you got to do to pay the bills.
Yeah, especially early on, like when it comes to age, like you can't open a distillery and have 20-year-old whiskey.
Exactly. And they did a good blend. Like, I'm not hating on them at all. But what struck me is these women were enamored by this lavender vodka. And so, like, you start thinking, it's like, what can you do that is regional, that tells a homegrown story, a really clean corn whiskey that's maybe infused with, something of the South, some, honeysuckle, something like that could still get the imagination and get the attention of the ladies, but not, it's not just straight up corn liquor every time. Don't get me wrong, I love corn liquor, but like, I like a little variety in my life too.
They hear lavender and a lot of lavender, like lotions, and it's just something potpourri. It's a big scent. So now they can taste it. It's a sales point. You buy with your eyes and your ears and your senses, and if it smells like lavender a little bit, then you want to drink it. And if it's sweet, you get the floral hints, and it's
you start putting that in mixed drinks and stuff like that. I mean, it was a lovely drink. Like, I'm not big on floral vodkas, but like that with a little club soda, it was refreshing. And it's like, I'm missing a whole demographic if I want to start a distillery. Just kind of thinking about that too.
Right.
It is wild how it's kind of turned a little bit, like you said, that more of that floral vodka. It is kind of it's more popular. The lavender, the drinks are changing. You go out and you see some of the drinks on some of these menus. It's wild, some of the stuff that you see at some of these places.
Yeah, I mean, talking about how like the industry is changing. Alan Bishop we talked about him a minute ago. Like, he's mentioned the bourbon boom popping, and it freaking popped. Like, you see all these big distilleries closing down for a year, laying people off. It's like, he's not wrong in that you need to be small and you need to be able to do what's right in your area, and sell regional and quit focusing on all the big shit and just do cool, interesting small batch stuff.
And follow the flow. As it changes, you got to change with it.
And I thought it was kind of interesting. I've seen in a lot of the media that MGP was buying up a lot of these smaller distilleries. They like Penelope, and they've bought some of these places up, and they're still allowing them to do what they do. But now they own them now. So it's going to end up being wild. There's only going to be a handful of people that are going to own some of the distilleries. It feels like
it's like the whiskey trust all over again. Like, they're going to buy out all the small guys, and if you don't go along with the program, they're just going to put you out of business out of sheer volume.
Right.
And I think it'll come back. Like, it's
Yeah,
It's,
totally.
you know what I'm saying? It's marijuana. We talked about it last week, I believe. It's marijuana legalization. That's what's hurting the alcohol right now because there's other choices. But it's real popular right now. I think it'll even back out, and alcohol use will go back up, and I think it'll be a more even playing field, and it won't be so much.
Well, I think the introduction of some of these cannabis infused drinks is kind of it's putting a little damper on some of the alcohol industry, man. And depends on what direction it goes. The cannabis drinks could get bigger. It's interesting.
Yeah, Trump just passed that, or he said he was going to sign in that executive where he's declassifying pot from Schedule 1 to a Schedule 3. I mean that's not quite ready for use yet, but that definitely opens the door. And I don't mean to get political. It just we're talking about pot. That opens the door for the next stage of maybe this becomes, I don't want to say recreational, but look how it is my hometown, Arizona. Pot's legal for recreational use. Like
it is
here in Ohio too.
Yeah,
it's here too. We have it.
It's not here yet, but I mean that's the next step.
It's there. And like having the ability to where it's like, oh, I can go get marijuana, or I can go get liquor. I can go get alcohol. It's like people are there's a different choice.
And let's be real. You can go hard in the paint on marijuana with marijuana and still to get up and not feel like ass, but you go hard in the paint with some liquor, and what the outcome is of that.
Or it's just another stop on your circle before you get home. You go hit the liquor store. It's all a demographic. It's all a person. Like Uncle Joey hitting them both.
There's a place up north of me that's doing hemp infused vodka, and it's allegedly got no THC in it, but it's got the taste of it. And from what I understand, it sells really well. So, I mean,
as like we've all tasted. Like I'm just intrigued. Is it earthy? Did they make it kind of sweet? And, like we've all tasted hemp, or accidentally drank some bong water along the way in life. Like what I'm saying, like we all know, like what's hemp taste like.
That's what I envision it tasting like is bong water.
Yeah,
let's be
I don't
real.
want to buy a bottle of bong water.
If you've ever made weed butter, man, and you make something with that weed butter, it tastes exactly like what you think it tastes like.
That I always remember when I was a kid, Uncle would be like, "You don't drink beer for the taste of it. You'll learn that when you get older." That's the same thing. You ain't eating that cookie for the taste of it. The sweetness helps a little bit, but you ain't eating that cookie for the taste of it. Especially some homemade stuff, like it's gonna hit you. But anyways, we got way off topic there.
I know we do that sometimes.
It happens.
So your plans are just to keep grinding out what you're doing, man, and it looks like so. Do you experiment still, or do you pretty much just kind of do this what you like right now? Or you still play around?
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. I hate to say it, but this has become an obsession. It's not even about like I don't want to say I don't enjoy it anymore. I absolutely do, but like this is about this has turned into what is going to be a business for me eventually. So yeah, I'm 100% experimenting with recipes, trying to come up with something that is unique and something that's just not your regular 95.5 MGP, like something that is of North Carolina, that tastes of this. Doing some research, for instance.
It's something like everybody wants to do their own thing,
like weeded bourbon was big here. Like rye didn't grow here very well up until probably the late 1850s, but before that everyone was drinking weeded bourbon effectively. At least that's the research that I was able to find. I'm prepared to be wrong on that. So so we start looking at weeded bourbons, and it's like, okay, so I love rye, but the rye here tastes kind of funny to me. So it's got a weird winter green kind of flavor, and I don't know if that's the soil or the variety, but there is a chemical compound in rye that grows specifically in the Piedmont region here that tastes like, to me, it tastes like wintergreen skull. So it's,
Huh.
I don't know, I've either got to find a new rye or, import rye or something like that. But anyway, so I've been leaning heavily into like weeded bourbons, and everyone loves weeded bourbons, like Maker's Mark, Pappy. All these are all huge. Yeah, there you go.
I'm not a bourbon drinker, but I do like a weeded. I like a weeded bourbon. I like if I'm making grain, I like it to have some wheat and oats in it. If I'm going to make a clear corn liquor,
that wheat seems a little drier. Just makes you want more.
It does.
It's drier. It's got a citrus to it. It's almost floral. Like, wheat is really interesting if you give it the space to kind of stretch its legs. And that's what I'm working right now is a really nice weeded bourbon using 100% sourced here.
Are you using a red or white, a winter, a hard, soft?
Winter
red. There's a rabbit hole for you, Uncle Joey. Wheat, maybe wheat.
Yeah,
Joey,
I hear
barley. Another
I hear
rabbit
that
hole.
winter wheat. I hear a lot of you guys talk about the red. Is it a red winter wheat?
Red winter, yeah. There's just something interesting about it. I can't quantify how it differs from like hard summer wheat, but red winter seems to taste the best.
The white soft wheat is more of just a smoothing factor and not so much
flavor. You get a lot of flavor from the red. Okay.
I think the red's a little more. It got a little more punch. You could pick it up and there a little more. It's not just. It doesn't just provide the smoothness.
Well, I mean, maybe it's I don't want to say exactly, but like look at the difference between Bloody Butcher and Yellow Dent. There is more phenolics in Bloody Butcher. Maybe Red Summer has a little bit more phenolics to it. That it makes for a better drop for sure.
Your red corns are so much more oily and they make for awesome aging. So see how your red wheat have a little more to it.
Yeah. So
if you need rye, I could get rye here locally. We do come down to North Carolina sometimes. So
we'll chat because I do know that they grow Abruzzi here. And I mean, I don't know if you guys know, like Todd Leopold, he's responsible for kind of bringing Abruzzi back to the U.S. in a lot of ways. It's got a higher starch content. No, sorry, a lower starch content, higher oil content. So it's allegedly it's supposed to be a really floral rye, not like the spicy rye like we're used to.
Yeah, we're spicy.
Yeah,
but I haven't. It's like the dude who sells the Abruzzi rye is like 3.5 hours away from me, and I have a really hard time driving. 6 to 7 hours for a 50-pound bag of Abruzzi just to try it.
Right. Like I'm intrigued. Like does it gelatize and clump and nasty up on you if you don't mash it in correctly? Like I'm always intrigued about the other types of rye.
Probably.
I forget. I know you could get Keystone out in Pennsylvania, and I forget what Vaughn grows. He grows some type of rye. He told me a million times. I just can't remember. I got a couple local farmers that he grow. They grow whatever, they grow a lot. So
I can't get any good rye within an hour driving distance. It's all seed rye, winter grass or overcrop stuff.
Yeah.
So it's like that's not suitable for making liquor. So I'm gonna have to take a drive probably down to South Carolina just to go pick up some, super sack of. I don't even need a super sack of freaking Abruzzi rye. Who needs a ton of Abruzzi?
Yeah, I mean a 50-pound bag of rye, that's a lot. That'll last you a lot. Like unless you're like, I'm doing 100% rye, and do your thing, buddy.
So I don't know if you guys ever watched that episode of Alan's show where he did that Shoemaker's rye with Eric Wolf.
Mm-mm.
So it was I forget the percentages, but it was an unmalted rye, a malted rye, wheat and oats. and it was from this old book from the Pennsylvania German Society. He found this really cool old mash bill, so I made it. But I fucked up the percentages because I used modern bushel weights and not older bushel weights. And what I ended up coming up with was spectacular. It was totally different from the percentages that Alan used because he later posted and talked about it. But yeah, something that's like 65% rye, 30% wheat was absolutely phenomenal. And I 100% want to make that again, especially on the column, to see how it differs from my double pot still version. But yeah, I love rye.
So that setup you have on the thing, is that your only setup now? Is that the only way you run?
Yeah, I have thought about putting my 8-gallon pot still, my little shorty fat keg back together, but I can't bring myself to do it because my column has had some issues. It works great, but it produces spirit. The lowest I can get it is 85%, and you legally can't make bourbon at 85%. So I'm reworking the column right now to try to be able to pull it off at hopefully like 65%. That's level right now, and to be able to pull it off at aging at barrel proof, so that way you don't have to dilute it when it goes into a barrel. It's 100% whiskey when it goes in, and hopefully it's 100% whiskey when it comes out. no dilution.
That 165, is that coming off in the beginning, and then that's your heads? Like you're coming off at the start too high, or
no? Because it's like, have you ever seen that ABV chart? I'll send it to you afterwards. Where basically it's got two curves. It's got the point where it vaporizes, and then the point where it condenses. It's got a blue line that runs like this, and then it's got a red line that runs like this. Because you're feeding in let's say 8% beer, that 8% beer with one distillation is going to be 50% low lines. And then from there with one distillation with a plate, it's going to be now 85%. So I'm trying to figure out a way to get a half of a distillation because I don't want it coming over that high.
And you're running that up through plates, right?
Well, yeah. So my rectification side has one plate below the lowest takeoff, and that's just to drop some water out of the mix because you have to carry over so much steam in order to power the rectification.
I would imagine your plate's got all those bubblers on it, right? What if you remove those bubblers? Take the bubblers out, and maybe that will knock it down just enough.
So I tried that. I tried running with with one bubbler completely out. I'm trying a whole new setup right now where instead of drawing off of the actual side of the bubbler plate, I'm going to put two downcombers in the plate, and then I'm going to put like a cup underneath. So it's going to catch the liquid that drips off of one of the downcombers, and the other one is going to drip down, and that way it'll support the plate below. So that way I still have the proper gradient.
And what if you turned your deflag down a little bit in the beginning, so a little bit more was going through that, and you blow off a little bit more higher end hearts into your heads? You know what I'm saying? Like maybe that, just like you would on running regularly.
The plates still end up stacking in a really weird way because it's like batch in an instant, but with a batch, your ABV of your pot is slowly dwindling, so everything is slowly drifting downwards as you pull out the alcohol. With a continuous, it's 100%. Like it is literally a snapshot in time. It's you feed in 7% beer. Your head's cut should always be the same. Your heart's cut should always be the same. And this is why all the big boys do it. It's because it's easier. It's more consistent.
More consistent.
We're over here what if and like, well, maybe this is one of my favorite parts. Well, what if you pull out all the plates and you put just like a little copper thumper in between there?
I tried that
too. and then pipe that in there.
We're an armchair fixture problem over here.
Well, what we're spitting. This is how you come up with stuff. You're like
I love it.
Some out of the box that is just like, oh man, that sounds totally out of the realm. It might be like, you know what? it might kick off something that you had that's out of the realm that you're going to make happen. Just so you know, it's just all about shooting shit and spitball when it comes to things like these. So, what about a lower mat, like a lower starting ABV start?
That's the next thing that I'm going to try. So I'm going to be my next batch. I've got a corn sugar mat batch that's ready for some parts to come in, but I'm going to run that at 5%.
Okay.
And a 5% beer through one plate below my lowest takeoff. I'm hoping 5% beer turns into 40% low wines. Going through one plate will give me about 65% final product. That's the hope.
Yeah.
I've been through like 12 fucking iterations of this thing at this point, and over the last 2 years, it's crazy.
I just know if my mash, like if it gets infected and that infection eats a lot of my alcohol, I don't come off real high, and I come off real low and end up having to do half a strip and run and then back it with the other ones. So like I wonder if that's going to fix your issue about coming off at that certain, it's just lowering your potential.
And I agree. There is some historical precedence, and I've talked to a couple of guys who run stills. I thought that they were running, their particular mash and their beer gallons the way that they were, just to make the column run better. But as it turns out, it is likely because of the lower ABV beer makes lower ABV low wines. Sorry. And I think that might solve this issue. I'm hopeful.
So going into it with a lower starting ABV will probably help you out.
Right, I think so. And fixing the plates. So because I was drawing all the liquid off of one plate, which was fucking up the plate mechanics, the hydraulics in the system of like the pressures and the gradient of the ABV. Everything was screwed up because I was drawing liquid off the side directly off the plate. So I'm hoping that two downcombers, one constantly filling the plate below and one taking liquid off, will make sure that I have proper hydraulics on all of the rectifier plates. Again, combined with the lower ABV beer coming in, I'm hoping this solves this problem.
Well, it sounds like you are definitely on the path of getting this somewhat solved. But in a sense, the reason why, so to me, your setup I'm keg still, pot thumper worm. To me, your setup looks insane, but now I get it. You're gearing up for distillery run. You're trying to fine tune what you're doing because essentially that's in order to make money at a profitable level. That's how you have to run. The setup that you have is kind of what you need to run. So now I get. I'm looking at it like, what does this dude got going on over here? But now, well, to me, it's so different from my little hobby world. You're a mad scientist. You know what I mean? Like your columns and this and that. That's crazy. But now, after hearing you speak tonight, everything you have makes perfect sense to me because that's what a distillery would run, and you're just trying to fine tune it so you're ready to hit the ground.
That's it. I've got a couple of friends that started columns like halfway through production in their first and second year, and they're going back and they're fucking with this column, and it's because it's not right. It's not easy to get dialed in. Nobody writes anything about how to run a column or how to build a 4-inch column. Everything is an 8-inch column powered by 1.5 million BTUs worth of steam. Like the mechanics work different at a smaller scale. It's not linear at all. So I don't want to be the guy who's in the middle of my first year trying to run a distillery and having problems with my still. Like I need to get this right before I can go into production, so that way I can actually hit the ground running.
Well, it looks like you're on the right path, man.
Fingers crossed, man.
There's a link to the video. I went and got it because
thanks, man.
I asked Uncle Joey to do it, and
I did it. It's on there.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, I did.
It'd be all right.
So like the goal, like right now, it's running off of 6 kilowatts in the steam generator. It's 13 gallons is too slow for like legit production. But if I can get it dialed in and happy at this low residential level, I'm hoping, dropping a 12 kilowatt element in it at commercial levels, it's really the only thing that's going to effectively change is my cooling water and my beer feed. And then I'll be able to run 25 gallons an hour. And that's where commercial volume really kicks in. You're able to run 125 gallons in a 6-hour period and, actually be able to be profitable.
Hell yeah. Well, I hope nothing but the best for you, man. It sounds like you're on a path. That's for sure.
Yeah.
It's obsession, pure obsession and hate. A little hate.
How many years are you into this obsession?
Probably. I've been making booze for about 5 years. I've been dicking around with this column for about 2.
Wow.
Part of that is my move, and having to rebuild it again once I moved because my basement is only 7 feet. So,
right.
You gotta make do with what you got, man.
Yeah. So,
well, we appreciate your time, man. We really do.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
So y'all go watch that video, man. Go watch the video. You got to, and hopefully when you make the changes to get it where you want, you make a new video on what you've done.
Absolutely.
And all that. Are you on TikTok or Facebook or anything like that?
On Facebook, I'm Ryan Ezra. No, that's not my real last name. Not on TikTok, no.
Uncle Joey's last name ain't Joey.
There you go.
My last name ain't Easy. Lemaster's last name is Lemasters, though. But it's just he don't get a name.
I tried to do some research on Ryan. It didn't come up very well. So I was like, because Sean reached out, said, hey, reach out to this guy and get him scheduled. And I was like, all right, who is this guy? So I had to actually talk to him to figure out what was going on here. So we appreciate your time, man. I really hope I hope one day I open up Facebook and I see you've got something in the works down your way, man. I really do.
Thanks.
Absolutely.
Thanks. I appreciate that. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on. This has been awesome.
It's always beautiful when you see somebody who just starts as a home distiller and you continue your love and your passion for your home distilling hobby, but you continue to grow that home distilling hobby into what it has the potential to become. Like you said, you want to retire being a distiller, you know what I'm saying, at a distillery. So, you know what I'm saying? It's a beautiful thing that, you've turned your love and your passion for home distilling into a potential distillery. And when you do get that distillery open, let us know. I'm always down for Uncle Joey to drive me somewhere. Mac can ride with his old lady because he gonna snore the whole way, and I ain't listening to that shit.
We hope all the best for you, Ryan.
Yep. If you do decide to get on, if you do get to that point and come back, man, let us know. We'll have you back on. We'll talk about it.
We'll do.
And I definitely want to hear more about your continuous rig you got going on because that thing is awesome. So we have this. We have like an exclusive community called the Still Talking Guild that you can join.
Nice.
We'll send you a link. You can hop in and we want to hear your experience. It's just all about having experienced people that love to share and show what they do. And so we'll if you ain't in, y'all come check us out. It's a good time. We just share knowledge, without any BS, and that's the way it should be. Ain't no Facebook groups where you got 80 people giving you shit. It's just
Facebook hate groups. Yeah,
it's a handful. I think we're up to about 11 members. We'd like to grow it to about 300 or 400 if we can. And we just want a select group of people to share ideas and help each other. And we just all. It's nice somebody comes in with a new question and nobody berates them. Like, man, I do this. You got 4 people saying I would do this. And now it's just up to you to figure out what you're going to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Without all the negativity. And that's the way it should be. So, again, Ryan, we appreciate you having us in your evening tonight. So, you was grateful to include us in your evening. So we're grateful. Uncle Joey, who we got next week?
Next week, we have Don Smith from South Mountain.
Now, didn't she win an episode of Master Distiller?
No, Don Smith.
No.
He owns South Mountain Distillery. We're having her on the week after that.
Who we having on? Hold on. You confused me. I'm not ready for all this.
All right. This coming Monday, we have South Mountain Distillery owner Don Smith.
All right. Yeah. Nice. All right. Who we got after that?
The lady from Master Distiller. What's her name? Sunkiss Orange.
All right. You said Dawn. I thought you said Dawn.
No. Dawn.
Y'all have a good night. I'm going to let y'all go. Everything stays. Y'all have a great night, man. We'll see y'all next week. Have a good night, Ryan. Y'all take care.